I'm Chiara Barbaro, and I first accessed the service in 2017 after I lost a baby in pregnancy. At the time, you weren't able to access the parent and baby unit until you were 20 weeks pregnant, which has now changed, and that is really good. So the first 20 weeks into my pregnancy were really hard. But my community midwife was really good, and she knew that I needed support because I really struggled to bond with baby, and I had flashbacks and nightmares of my loss constantly. So everything was ready for me. As soon as I got to 20 weeks, I was referred, actually even before I turned 20 weeks, to the parent and baby unit. And I still remember the first time I went to the coffee morning, because at the time there was no COVID around, so you could just go in really, and you didn't necessarily need to have a baby with you. You could go pregnant. And I remember meeting the nursery nurses at the time, and I met Nikki, who was the team leader of the parent and baby. And there was a lot of confusion at the start because of my struggles with my mental health at the time. I was in between services. I was in between the Sutherland Centre and the parent and baby, but I managed to get accepted by the parent and baby after they had the Tuesday MDT meeting, and so that was the start of my journey with them. I honestly don't think I would be here. And I don't just say it, to sound cheesy or anything like that. I wouldn't be here without them. And I think the incredible thing about a service like the parent and baby unit is that it's a whole team of people coming together and helping that mum and dad or partner as much as they possibly can. And it never, to me, I was with them from 20 weeks pregnant until my baby was 1, so that's a long time, and a bit after, actually. It never felt like I was a patient to them, never. And now I realised the amount of care that they put. And if you could see, like, even just pictures of me when I first accessed the coffee morning, and then when I got discharged, which was obviously very sad. I still remember, but obviously these things end and it's good. So feeling empowered by a team of ladies, it was only ladies at the time, that made me feel like I could take on that grief, because it was grief, 100%, accept it, not in a way of everything happens for a reason, which I didn't really like at the time, but I believe now. But how can we use that to develop something that you believe in? And for me, that was being there for others, helping others, just like they did with me. Yeah, so after David, my rainbow boy, so rainbow babies are babies born after loss because they give you hope after the storm. After David was born, me and Nikki looked into setting up something, and once he turned 1, and obviously I got discharged by the parent and baby unit, I was well enough to look into that. And that October we had the first face-to-face meeting with mums, and that's still going as of today. So yeah, it was quite intense, the support I had from the parent and baby. I had the bump to birth support with Jill. I had weekly counselling with Nikki. I would go to the coffee morning whenever I could. I bonded really well with Marie, one of the nursery nurses, and my boy just loved her. He loved her so much. We used to call him the seagull, because he would just scream. I think he was colics, but not just that. He's just a bit of a, temperamental boy. But with her, he would just stop. So because I struggled with him so much to bond, because I thought he was going to die. To see someone like Marie looking after him and him settling so well, it gave me that peace of mind and space to just talk about my own issues. For me, what I found tough at the time, which it's not necessarily something that the parent and baby could have fixed, was this felt like a bubble for me. It was my safe space. I could come here. Literally, sometimes I would just have naps, like while Marie was with the screaming seagull, and I could just sit down in a corner and just nap or just have a brew. Whenever I was into the community, that felt like the bubble bursted a bit. So I think something we could maybe look into, which with the peer support role is already happening, would be to maybe liaise a bit more with the community and the services that are out there. Not just because I've got my own charity experience, but because I would have found really helpful to liaise with groups that were really aware of what the service does, and so maybe we could look at organising meetings and liaising more with the community, not necessarily with NHS-led support services, but community services. That would be really helpful. I am lucky because my GP has always been really good, but he had to put up a fight, and I was rejected by services, and obviously with the pandemic everything's been tougher, which I understand, but if I am a lucky one, because I talk to other people struggling with the same issues that I struggle with as of today, and a lot of them never had any help. It's not necessarily in distrust, I'm talking nationally. We do have a service now up and running for it, and I'm in, but it was a struggle to get accepted. But I know that is a national issue. It's not the trust. What I kept being told was, there's no service here in Stoke-on-Trent. The GP wasn't sure whether I could be referred to Stafford or something else. There was no clear guidance from services really. And I am a fighter, which you probably understand, you probably got by now, and I phoned, and I know a lot of people that don't have that strength or energy, or I don't know, and I feel for people like that, and I feel that it's on us, it's on me. Just because I managed to access it doesn't mean that I forgot about all the people that didn't. I wouldn't say I wasn't happy with the Sutherland. Everyone was really nice to me. Like I said, my therapist was really good. We worked really well together. She managed to make me better at the time, but it was a plaster, and no one thought we were going to have a pandemic. With the pandemic, I crashed again, and it was tough, but I've been accepted now, and this trust, it came across as a family, as it wasn't me and them, because at the time I wasn't a peer support worker, I was still a service user, because I was still using, and the staff, within the parent and baby, definitely. I'd say the whole mental health support I've had, which I've had a lot, always came across as approachable to me. And I think, building up from that, it is quite precious when you're a service user. It is very important, that first contact, that first phone call. I've never come across anybody that wasn't welcoming, even when I was rejected. Eventually, they took the time to explain why I was rejected, and what they thought, why then I was accepted. Actually, I was explained why I was accepted, and that I should have been accepted earlier, and they weren't really afraid to apologise. So that's another big thing, I think. So I know that the trust of working hard already to liaise with charities, but there's definitely a lot more that can be done. And I think that's where the peer support workers, not just myself, I know that there's more vacancies out there, and actually they've hired a peer support worker recently for maternity. I think that's where the peer support can really come in. So when I studied, revised for the interview, more leaves, these came across to me quite strongly, and I remember thinking, not just because I would have loved to get the job because I want to be a peer support worker, but in this trust I wanted to be one. I remember reading about being the only outstanding mental health service of 2 in the UK, is it right? I forgot now anyway. And that struck me again, and I wasn't surprised. When I talk to some, ladies that live in different places in the UK, and I tell them what we do here, they are quite shocked in a good way. I thought that, for example, in London, services were much better, but they're not, at least in the trust where some of my mums are. There's nothing like this. So sometimes I say, just move to Stoke. We'll take you on. So it is, I am very, very, very proud to be part of it, and I cannot wait to get going and improve it.